Um, Ninjas in the news, y'all, and this one is kind of interesting. This one's kind of interesting. As autoplays happen on my computer. Autoplays on websites are the worst thing in existence. I'm looking at you, marketers. So I guess back in the day, the conversation was NFL players, NHL players, NBA players, celebrities. They would step into a problem, and when they're asked what they would say about a political issue or a civic rights issue or something that's going on in current events, they would go, well, I'm not a role model. I don't need these kids to look up for me. I'm not a role model. I don't need these kids to look after what I'm doing. It's not about ninjas, Smith. It's about Ninja. The New York Times did an interview with Ninja, and we are finally seeing the blend of, I guess, celebrity streamers meets sports celebrities. Good point by Pixie. The funny thing about being a role model is that you don't choose that you are one. You just are. Doesn't matter if you want to or not. You just are. People are watching. He said something like this. He said to parents, listen to, and more importantly, teach your kids. He was talking about his transition to voice acting, to his comments a few years ago about not playing games with women, which again, I got on record. I did a whole hour segment on that. One question he was asked was around the behavior of kids who frequent his live streams. And he asked what could be done to mitigate the times where like toxic comments were made in the chat, which would obviously go into racial slurs, derogatory slurs, homophobic conversation, etc. Ninja said, quote, "It all comes down to parenting. You want to know who your kid is? Listen to him when he's playing video games when he thinks you're not. Here's another thing. How does a white kid know he has white privilege if his parents never taught him or don't talk about racism?" Ninja then went on to say that it's not his job to teach kids about culture or topics related to race because his first instinct is to assume he's being trolled in the chat. He says, quote, "If they're gaming and their first interaction with racism is one of their friends saying the N-word and they have no idea what it is, what if it's on my stream? Is it my job to have this conversation with the kid? No, because the first thing going on in my head is the kid is doing this on purpose to troll me. If someone says a racial slur on someone else's stream, it could potentially get that streamer banned. It's awful, but it's the first thing I think of." He noted that the internet's illusion of anonymity does make the problem bigger. He also says that parents should still get involved. He said that I don't think it's gaming, it's internet culture. People are behind the screen. They say what they want. They get away with it. They have anonymity. Your information and data are precious, should remain private, but it sucks that there are kids who say racist things and are incredibly aggressive and threatening to women online and have zero repercussions. It would be awesome if someone said something threatening and you could be like, let me look up that dude's gamer tag on this website. It's Jimmy. Let me call his parents. So, how do we feel about this? I think you feel a certain way about it if you don't have children, most people. And then you feel a different way. Not that you. I think people who say this feel a different way before they have kids and then after they have kids. I really do. This one's interesting because he's right. He's right that parents need to be involved. Parents need to be aware of what the hell is going on with their kids. 100%. Don't disagree. 100%. Parents need to be aware of what's happening with their children. That's not wrong information. Pixie says, when the parents are the ones allowing these kiddos to pay him with subs and bits, possibly in the first place, or allowing their kids to watch his content. Parents can be involved, sure, but a lot of time parents might not know what their kids are doing online. Sure, but they should. I need to know what my kid is doing online the same way I need to know where my kid is going if he's going to a friend's house, the same way I need to know if my kid's doing when he's at the skating rink, if he's actually at the damn skating rink. If he says he's there, he needs to be there. So if you say you're going online to go look up YouTube Minecraft videos and you're over here watching how to make napalm, I need to know about that. As a parent, I need to know about that. My parents need to be involved in their kids' activity online. Deja vu, good evening. It's a balance. However, you have a platform. This goes back to what I was talking about. It's so weird how things segue into each other. You have a platform. You have an obligation. You have a requirement. That in your own space, sure, there's going to be trolls. But you don't have to address the troll to address the issue. Right? You don't see, but Pixie, I will say I disagree with you because you are not responsible for some asshat coming into your chat and saying trigger warning words and R word, F word, N word in your chat. You're not responsible for that. That person's going to make that decision on their own. Just like you're not responsible if you're the security guard at a school and something bad happens. But you are responsible for speaking up about issues that happen around you, right? And if there's a way we can quell that, you can use your platform and correct it. I get what he's saying. The amount of trolls that go into like a Ninja or a Lupo or Tim or Disrespect or hell, the amount of people that go into any of my friends' streams with over 100 viewers. The amount of people that are trolls that come into my damn channel when they did on Mixer. That happens. They need to go. But I can still talk about the issue, not the person. So if they're trolling you and you're not sure, that's okay. That's just Ninja with the small brain again. He says some dumb stuff sometimes. Ninja, come on. You say some dumb shit sometimes, my dude. Sometimes, not all the time. I think what he's doing in some aspects of his career is great. I think his children's foundation is fantastic. I think he genuinely wants kids to just be cool and chill. I think, again, when we talk about fame and fortune and money, this is no different than the star out of high school or out of college and an NFL player that now has $1 bajillion and can get anything he wants, right? You don't have the ability to balance that. You have to use your platform for good. Otherwise, what are we doing? The other side's going to say they have no obligation. They're just entertainers. Yeah, I get that. I get that saying. I get that position. But what are we trying to do with our future generations? What are we trying to do with our culture? What are we trying to do with our peers around us? What are we trying to do with our colleagues? And what example are we trying to set to brands? You think Red Bull's going to be okay if you're cool with people saying the N-word in your channel? You got to think about that. Strictly from a selfish standpoint, you got to think about that. bMaJuH, you make a good point. You can't control the kids. You can't control their attitudes. You can't control what they're going to do. But you could be like, that shit don't fly. Cut the shit out. That's what you can say. You can say, hey, this shit's okay to talk about. That's okay. It's all about how you cultivate what you want out of a conversation. Now, when you get up to 300,000 people in your chat, that's a lot different of a ball game than anything else. So I don't even want to fathom what that looks like. So, like, let's remove that from the conversation. People can come into your chat and they might troll you. They might be racist. They might be homophobic. They might say some nasty stuff to women. They might be children. They might be adults. They could be anybody. Let's remove all of that out from the conversation. But you saw it happen. And you know that at least 1 out of 1,000 times, one of those kids is actually not realizing what they're saying. One of those kids actually might be racist. One of those kids might actually think it's okay to hit women. One of those kids might be it's okay to make fun of autistic people. Just 1 out of 1,000. Odds are that's real. That's where it's a teaching moment. Even if you don't see it, you know it's happening in your space, and you have to rise above that noise to say something. Because if everybody's being a bystander, nobody's actually doing anything. Nobody's learning and getting better. So I think that's where the line is drawn. This is the NFL athlete. This is why you look at somebody like a Colin Kaepernick and you can teach your kids that, look, this man, aside from the fact that he was a relatively moderate quarterback, nothing to write home about skill-wise, pretty much lost his starting job because of what he did on the field. He took a stand. And you can counter that with looking at people like Richie Incognito, who's been essentially ousted, the owner of the Clippers, who's essentially been ousted for racist behavior. And you can teach your kids why that's not okay. You don't need to assume they're a troll. You can just talk about what happened. So I read a lot of the Twitter comments, and it was back and forth. It was, either somebody going completely agree with whatever Ninja said or completely the opposite. Somebody said, of course, Ninja won't teach his fans how to not be racist because he is racist himself and his white privilege helps his career. I don't necessarily agree with that. I just don't think he's understanding what he's saying. I don't think he's getting the scope of his power. There's nobody in his circle that's older saying these things. It's him and his wife. His wife is managing him. He just is missing the bigger point. I get his point. Talk to the kids. He said, and this just came in. He says something here on Twitter right now. Let me pull this up. This is important. PC with Cam. That's what I want. Mr. Preda. I saw this before. I don't know if I vibe with this. Actor, producer, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Correct. But hopefully you can see your privilege, Ninja, as an influencer who has a platform of 24 million and educate yourself and subscribers on the civil rights issues in the world, some of who look up to you, and not their parents as a role model. That is your job. Sort of. It's not his job to give like a civics liberty course. But if he recognizes that one of his peers had a whole issue with homophobia because they just came out, it might be important for you to sit down and be like, hey, y'all, this isn't cool. You don't have to be like righteous about it. You can just say, I don't like it. And I'm asking you to stop. That's step one. That's really all we're asking, right? Like, I'm not a black person. I'm not LGBTQ+. Okay? I'm not in that boat. I am a cis white male. I get it. From that perspective, I get it. That's who I am. But I can say, y'all have to stop. And I can teach my kids, y'all have to stop. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't need to be an expert in it. I don't need to be a political science expert. I don't need to know all the history of what happened on the bridge in Salem. But I can realize that just 2 generations ago, a senator just recently died that marched with Dr. King And not much has changed since then. And I can say, hey, son, don't be that person. Be better. I can say, hey, kid in my chat, can you not come in with that nonsense? It's not cool to say, to make fun of people that have autism. Up until 4 years ago, I said the R word. I learned how that impacted other people. And now I don't say it. Because I was like, oh God, like I didn't realize how much that really impacted other people. Maybe that came too late in my life, but at least I learned it, and now I don't allow that word in my house. You don't have to be a professor. So then Ninja says this. It's not my job to sit down and make a video with all of my audiences and do a lesson on civil rights and how not to be racist. I show that I'm a good person through my actions and how I treat people and those around me every single day. Yes and no. He's missing the point. That's not what we're saying. For the last 2 years, I heard people say the phrase, the R word, not the word, the phrase. I had no idea what the hell they meant. Oh, yeah. Yeah. R word, N word, F word. That's the whole thing. Is like, if we can work on not saying those three things in life, that's step one, right? Step one. I didn't realize. And I used to say, like, I'll say it here. Like, I'm not going to say it because Twitch will ban me. Like, that's so G word. I used to say that. I used to say the R word. I didn't realize. That's step one. It's not his job to sit down and make a video. But it is. He's contributing to the problem through an action. There it is. He's contributing to the problem through inaction. No, not Republican. He's contributing to the issue by not doing anything about it, by watching it happen. Joe Budden said it best. You can either make shit happen, watch shit happen, or not know what happens. He's not making it happen, and he doesn't not know what's happening. He's just watching it happen in front of him. That's the problem. That's the problem. I'm not asking you to make a video. I'm not a political science expert. I still talk about it. Did you develop the game for Fortnite? Oh, but you make videos on Fortnite. Like, you don't have to be the expert to say that something isn't cool. Yes, you can be a good person through your actions. 100%. Actions speak louder than words. 1,000%. I do not disagree. And you should be judged by how you treat others. 1,000% agree. But the last part of that, because the action, to be fair, Pixie, the action is doing things, but part of the doing things is calling it out when it's in front of your eyeballs. Part of the doing thing is saying it. I look to I don't know what it's like. Again, I don't know what it's like. But I'd like to think there are black children. There are women, young girls. There are those with special needs. There are those that are transgender that look up to these people that they watch on Twitch and go, will you say something? Because I don't feel like I have a voice. Am I wrong there for thinking that? So you go online and you hope to see something different because you're scratching your head going, I don't get it, because you're not able to put your hands on it because you're receiving different information from people. So you look up to the people you watch on YouTube and on Twitch and on Twitter and on Instagram and on Discord and on Facebook, and you look at your friends and your peers and what they do when they're not in front of you because you can sneak your way into a chat. So when you finally get there and you see that Ninja isn't going to say anything about the fact that it's not okay to be cool with lynching people, you might become a little bit frustrated with the system. I think that's safe to say. Again, I don't know. White dude, I get it. I don't need to preface everything I say by going, I know I'm privileged. I can speak loudly enough that is, and I say loudly enough with action, that is assumed and knowledgeable with what I'm speaking. We're not asking for a goddamn history lesson. We're saying you're going to play Fortnite with Moonlight Wolf and you're going to see someone drop the N-word in a co-stream and you should stop what you're doing and be like, that's not cool. She's a person equally too. That's what we're saying. How do you miss that? And then I'm going to turn a little bit cynical here and say it. By not saying it, and this is going to upset some people, and here we go. By not saying anything, you are speaking to me. This is what it sounds like to me. This is my opinion, that you are too afraid to lose the racist, misogynistic, and homophobic people from your fan base because it may impact your paycheck too much. That's what it looks like to me. That you're not willing to take a stand because you are aware of the problem that is so large. You're not willing to do something about it because you're afraid of the current impact of your paycheck right now. But on a macro scale, if two people are shunned from your stream because they are seeing that action take place in your stream and you kick out the one person, those two people will tell two people and you've gained 4. So you've netted, by my simple elementary math, a +3 to your income. But maybe you're too small-brained to see that. I don't know. I'm just assuming. This is what your actions speak to me. This is what your inaction says to me.